All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the story problem here, number 16. Michael is driving at a constant speed of 60 miles an hour when he crossed the Sandy River. After 1 hour, he passed a highway marker for mile 84. Write an equation in point-slope form and find which highway marker he will pass 90 minutes after crossing the Sandy River. All right, so let's start off here. Here's the slope. The slope is 60 miles an hour. How do I know that's the slope? Because the slope is the rate of change. And that's the only thing there that's a rate because it's saying miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and start setting up the equation. Y minus something equals my now slope, 60, times x minus something. Okay, so now we've got to figure out what our y's and our x's represent. But that all comes directly from the slope. The slope, remember, is miles over hours. How does that help us? Well, it helps us because, remember, slope represents the rate of change in terms of y compared to x. The change in y versus the change in x. So this is really the change in y over the changes in x. Well, if it's the change in y compared to the change in x, that means miles is really how much we're changing in y's, and hours is how much we're changing in the x's. So that's going to help me because now I know that the miles somehow is what's going to fill in over here where I have my y's, and the hours is going to fill in somewhere over here where I have the x's. So if we look here, it says after 1 hour he passed a marker for mile 84. So that's my time and that's my miles. Well, if my miles is the change in y, that means this 84 is what's going to fill in over here with the y's. So that's going to have to be y minus 84. Because, of course, 84 minus 84 is how I get 0. Over here with the times, again, I know this is the time because the hours represent the change in x. So over here, I'm going to write this as x minus 1. Because 1 minus 1 is how I'm going to get to 0. Okay, so let's keep going here down the path. Because now I've got the equation, but now they're asking me which mile marker is he going to pass 90 minutes after crossing the Sandy River. Now, one of the mistakes we don't want to make here now is I don't want to say 90. Because remember, the slope was miles over hours. Well, this has got to be in terms of hours for me to use it here. What you're going to do is because hours represent the change in x, you're going to come here now and change x into 1.5 and solve the equation. Why 1.5? Because 90 minutes is 1.5 hours. And again, it's got to be in terms of hours. And then we'll actually solve the equation, which is something we really haven't done today in this section, but not a big deal. Again, the reason I picked x for 1.5 is because the x numbers represented hours. It wouldn't make sense to put it over here for y's because y represents the miles. Okay, so we'll solve this out. I got 1.5 minus 1, which is a half. So that's 60 times a half is the same as y minus 84. Well, that's easy because that's y minus 84 equal to 30. And then I'm going to solve the equation by adding 84 to both sides. And when I do that, that's going to change into y equals 114. So he's got to be at the 114 marker 90 minutes after crossing the river.